This is Magic Talk with Chris Lynch. Good morning to you. Well, let's catch up with National Spokesperson for Crown Maori, Dr. Shane Reti is with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good to speak with you.
You as well, sir. First time, I think. Talk me through what Waitangi Day means to you.
So to me, Waitangi Day is a commemoration of Maori and non-Maori starting to come together to take gentle steps in the birth of a new colony. And it's a historical look back at that very first relationship. What could that look like? And then how it's developed from there and continues to evolve. It's a onwardly evolving process. But for me, it's that look back, that moment in time where we started to build the colony and the relationship between Māori and non-Māori.
Do you think we're getting better as a country acknowledging that?
I think we are in some ways. I think there are parts of the fabric of society that are struggling here at the moment. I think Māori-Crown relations are part of that struggle. I think we've certainly evolved from where we were in 1840. It's a work in progress that needs to continue.
Why is it a work in progress, and do you suspect it will always be that way?
It's really interesting. Is there some point, should it be like treaty settlements where we say at this point in time, we're done? A lot of all relationships, our relationships with our family, our relationships with our children, they change moment by moment. They will change in a lifetime. And so if we envisage the treaty as being a living document, maybe even having a persona, if you like, then there's no reason to not expect that it would change moment by moment as well. Now, we don't change big things in our relationships. We change little things. Okay, son, where's your work now? And where do you think you'll be buying a house? We change parts of us, but not core fundamental things. I think core fundamental things associated with the treaty are pervasive. And I think just here at the moment, we're struggling across a range of fronts. And I think actually Crown Māori relationships are doubly challenged here at the moment, just now around coronavirus, which is already sort of divisive in what we do around vaccinated, non-vaccinated, boosted, non-boosted, mask wearing, non-mask wearing. And I think when we lay the progress of Crown Māori underneath that, it's just holding us apart a bit at the moment.
Do you suspect that's because there's always been, not with every Māori of course, but a slight distrust with authority, with governments, and do you think perhaps now more than ever before we are probably seeing some of that distrust among some Māori?
It's a really good point, and my observation to that would be yes. I've certainly seen it in the vaccination front, where I've been vaccinating up here in Northland. That part of the vaccine resistance, vaccine hesitancy, is that distrust. I wouldn't just say of the Crown, of authority, actually. So it's a distrust of bank manager, distrust of insurers, but yes, a distrust of the Crown as well.
Why is that distrust still here today? Do you think it actually does relate back to 1840? Or is it just something that is there that we need to acknowledge and try really hard to bring people together? Because you're right, it is still there, isn't it?
It is, and I do understand and acknowledge that some feel that their position in life today and one of the hurdles they have is the history that brings them here, brings them to this point, the history of their forefathers that then set their socioeconomic status in today's world. So there are many who would say my position and my lot in life here now is a reflection of back to 1840, and I do understand that. I also understand others who acknowledge that and say, but that will not be my hurdle. I will lift myself out of that historical context and do this, that, or and other things.
But do you think that there are probably some elitists that think, well, no, there's more money to be made and always playing victim mentality? Why bother bringing yourself out of, that kind of victim mentality when there's money to be made? Or is that too simplistic?
Look, I do understand the gravy train concept, and I think it is above that. I think that can be a simple way to look at things. I think in their heart of hearts, people want their spirits to be soothed. They want grievances apparent or perceived to be soothed. And I think that is the prime imperative. The fact that it may also then have some recompense, certainly in the matter of treaty settlements, I think is a good thing to recognise the financial consequences of bad behaviour and decisions that were made in the past. So look, there may well be a few who see this as their career. I believe the vast majority see it as a way to soothe a history and to soothe as best as they can a conscience that finds them in this place and time so that they can make their way forward. That's what I tell myself.
Dr. Shane Reti, I was talking to Dame Tariana Turia the other day, and I was asking her, it seems so long ago that the National Party and the Maori Party once had a reasonable relationship, and I put it to her, I couldn't see that happening now, but she said she could see that happening because it's politics and people learn to work together no matter what. What do you reckon? What do you say about that?
Yes, I would agree, and enjoyed working with Tariana and Pita, and admire them hugely. And I think at the end of the day, there is definitely opportunities for us to work with the Maori Party. We achieved a lot in collaboration, and if there was one thing coming out of 2017, Maori Party didn't talk up enough, in my view, the benefits that they had got in that collaboration. And I said this to Te Ororo many times. I said, you need to talk up what's happened here. It's quiet. No one sees the impact you've had on this policy and that policy, how we've shifted positions most of the time invariably to a better position. I mean, that's what happens with select committees. You get a multiplicity of views and it goes out better than before it came into select committee. Well, a number of policies that we were generating that then had the benefit of that collaboration with Māori were better policies as a consequence. And so looking forward here now, I have excellent relationships with Debbie and with the co-leader, with Rawiri, and I have every expectation that even though they may be making statements here, what we talk about when we're not on radio and we're not on camera and we're just two friends, two people walking to the house, all sharing and laughing, it's, there could be another future for us. How do we figure that out? What do you need from us? What do we need from you? Let's not shut doors here now. Let's keep them open. Let's not make anything so immutable that, the risk of being whakamā or being ashamed of having to flip-flop on that arises. Let's keep opportunities open.
Just on a personal level and professional, I suppose, Dr. Shane Reti, when all the issues were happening with, national, the inner turmoil and the leadership issues, a lot of people, I think, both on the left and right said, you wouldn't be a good leader because you're too principled and you're too honest. And I suppose that's a double-edged sword, and I wondered what you thought of that. You must have heard some of the comments, which in some respects were actually quite complimentary of you, to such an extent people thought that you're too nice for a leader.
That's very generous. I was aware of some of these comments.
Even from the left were quite kind towards you too, I noticed too. Even usually the vicious trolls on Twitter were quite nice about you.
That's very generous. Look, I think that's old-style politics, where we talk about it's all about table thumping and yelling and shouting, and the only good ideas come from your brain and your sphere of influence. I don't buy that. I think modern-day politics is much more collaborative. I think if you have a good idea, I will say to you, please, can I borrow that idea? I will give you attribution as long as the day is long, but I think that's actually the right path. Can I borrow that? Can you help me? Can we weave that? I think that's much more where modern day politics is. And I would say to those who want me to table thump and yell and shout, not going to happen, not my style. It's not what's brought me through several careers to this. And I believe modern day politics is a different flavour. Just
finally, how do you rate race relations in this country now? Because arguably you could say they're better because Labour is doing more. They're putting a lot more funds into Māori. But then you could also argue, couldn't you, that as a result, we're seeing a slightly fractured political landscape, and I wonder what you make of the relations today in this country, race relations, that is.
I think certainly just here and now in a COVID environment, they're strained. I think COVID has put extra strain on what was already challenging. I think there was slow progress being made, but I do think COVID and coronavirus has had an influence. I do acknowledge there has been significant funding, sometimes under the umbrella of coronavirus, be it right or wrong, towards Crown Māori and Crown Māori issues. I like to talk about the language of outcomes. Actually, so yes, you put this much money towards something and that much money, whatever. What are the outcomes? Did you achieve them, and in what time frame? So I'm more interested actually across a range of domains, including Crown Māori, in talking the language of outcomes.
It'd be nice to see what the outcomes is and accountability. Actually, really nice to speak with you, Dr. Shane Reti from National. Have a great day.
Tēnā koe, Chris. Lovely to speak with you.